just got a major issue with some wires. As you can see, it totally burnt off. I just cut this one, just make sure that there's no more current going in. But this one all has melted itself. So to see how hot it was, looking at the junction box, I cannot see yet anything wrong there. But actually, the two LEDs burn. There's two wires going to the remote and two wires coming out of the remote. Prior to that issue, there was something wrong with that remote. I mean this one. I tried to lift, it didn't lift. Going down, it did go down, but at some point, it didn't stop going down. And then hitting that button up, then I think that messed up all the system. So there's two wires, two coming in, two coming out. The one coming in were still, let's say, cold, and the two out are still warm. So I suspect there was something wrong with that remote. I go through that later. But first, I'll assess the damages. So just in case that you are not a Canadian, that is a Robertson number 2. You don't have that in US. That has the square tip. I try to zoom in, as you can see. That's really good because it doesn't strip. So this one was for the light, so I just have to plug it and there will be light. I can see this one melted, and there should be also the blue one. The blue one is going to connect at the bottom of the box. So basically what I see is that the wires inside is not too much damage. You can see some exposed wiring. The blue one that you don't see seems to be okay. So I suspect there was some kind of a connection in between those two. I don't remember putting such a long screw. That's ridiculous. That's the grounding bolt. So this is the positive I just removed, and these are all the negative side. So the blue one is the negative. So I'm going to cut this out. Sure, I won't need it anymore like this. I don't know if you can see it. You see, actually it did sparked directly on the wire. At this point, I don't think that the remote was the culprit of that issue. I might think instead that when this got grounded, then it reversed the polarity. And by doing, like I said, I tried to put the remote in reverse or in forward, and I think at this point I get a short inside of the remote. That's why the LED on the remote side became hot, and that's why it was not becoming hot on the winch side. That could explain what happened. So basically the ground and the positive in this hole just got grounded. I don't know why. It's kind of a tight spot. Could explain something too. They kind of stick together. Yep. Oops. There's one more damaged there. Okay, this one is free. Yep. You can see they melted together. You got kind of a hot. Okay, it's not skinned. Actually, this is the it's burnt plastic. The two wires were together, they got hot, and at some point they just shorted. So I might want to have them go through separate holes. Could be better like this. I bought this connector for another project. Could be a good idea to have something to disconnect if there's anything going wrong. And on top of that, I like to remove the battery in winter time so it gets charged all year long. So this one was coming with 3 LEDs. There's one LED that will be not used. I'm going to cut that flush, put a heat shrink tube, and maybe just wrap this around like this. So that will be the splitter side, and this one will be the battery side. Yep. I don't like that much because the connectors are so close. If I do it, let's say a gas tank like this, it's going to short right away. Yeah, that could be the battery side. Just make sure that I don't have any short. It's really near impossible. Battery side, splitter side. I know this is not the proper size. Okay, now battery side is done. We'll be ready to hook. Splitter side. But first I'm going to do some more holes right there to make sure that they don't get too much. To get spacing, proper spacing, I'm going to add some grommets. That's for the positive side. Now, ground side. I'm going to go with that. Stupid long. I guess I did choose that bolt because of the washer that is already in. And then the socket you can push the bolt in. But it was anyways too long. I'm going to wrap this with a generous amount of electrical tape. Especially for the bolt. So to say, I got a ground in between those two wires because they were stuck together. And secondo, I did use a number 8 wire, which is too small. So this one got hot, warm, hot, and at some point it did start melting. And then having those two wires stuck really hard together, it just shorted the battery. That's why I got some issue with the winch going up and down any direction, and I'm pretty sure this will resolve the problem. Good. Perfect. We'll start. This is the square screw I told you before. The really good point about this is the really snapping, really strong, even if that tip is not magnetized.